Hey, it's Amelia. Today I'm filming my Panlet palette update for September. I'm having a hard time filming because it's really hot here and I don't have a lot of time and I don't really have a good filming setup, so whatever. You're just going to be looking at my desk today. I do have my fan on the lowest setting and I'm hoping you can hear me more than the fan, but if not, I'll just put some audio over this video. So the first thing I have is my Naked palette. This was actually discontinued as of, I don't even remember what day it was, but it happened recently by Urban Decay. I said on Instagram if people wanted me to talk about whether or not you should get it on sale, I could do that, but I don't know if people are still interested in that because it's been a little while. I feel like at this point, if you were interested, you would have bought it. But if you're still interested in a video like that, I can film it and let you know what I think because I have a lot of thoughts on it. It is a little sad that it's being discontinued, but honestly, it doesn't surprise me at all, considering how much eyeshadows in the industry have developed since this palette came out. So in terms of progress, I finished Sidecar, which is really good. I'm sorry about the lighting. I'm really happy about that. I did make a little bit of progress on Buck, I think, but not a ton. And over the past few days, I've been working on Smog, so that has a little more progress. And I do have progress on the top of Dark Horse. So I'm really glad to be basically a third of the way through this palette because that third is empty, and then even more because this will be gone soon. And then these two have a lot of pan in it, so that's pretty good. So I'm really happy with this so far. I'm just not sure how far I can get by the end of the year. Sorry if I sound a little sick, it's just really early in the morning for me. Next I have my Naked 2 palette, which has not been discontinued, I don't think. One accomplishment I have is that I actually hit side pan on tees on the side right here, whereas before I had side pan on the other side. So my plan with tees is to finish the top section at some point, and then all that'll be left is the bottom section. I do plan on finishing the top here of Verve when I pan Half Baked from the original palette, but I haven't done that yet, so it's sort of just sitting there waiting. Other than that, I haven't really been using this palette because I've been doing warm tone looks. Because before that I was doing cool tone looks with just tees. So not a ton of progress, but the original Naked is my focus of the year now anyway. I have really good progress on this eyeshadow in Midnight Cowboy Rides Again. I actually have side pan. I don't know if you can see that. So this is pretty good. I basically wear this in my inner corner every day and I really like it. Now that I'm doing warm tone looks, I'm actually using my other one, but this was when I was doing all cool tone looks. This is Midnight Cowgirl, and this is the one I'm using now. I do have a little more progress on this, and I'm getting close to the side, so I'll probably hit side pan by my October update. So this one doesn't have a ton of progress, but I feel like by the end of the year it'll be significantly different from when I started. For Twice Baked, I feel like I have similar progress, where I'm really close to hitting side pan. And because I'm left-handed, I tend to use product on the left side. I don't know why, that's just what I've done. So my plan is to work my way around the circle once I've hit side pan, and sort of expand it that way. So that's pretty much everything. I finished one eyeshadow, I hit side pan on 2 eyeshadows, and I expanded pan on a couple eyeshadows. So I think August was a really productive month. September is definitely going to be productive because I'm going to be doing my school makeup look every day, which is just smog all over the lid with some mattes in the crease and stuff. So my Naked palette, the original, is going to get a lot of use. Currently I'm using smog all over the lid, Buck in the crease with some other mattes I have, and this in the outer corner with this also. I wanted to mention that I wear 8 eyeshadows every single day, and doing that has gotten me this far in my progress, which isn't the greatest, I don't think, but it's not bad either. So if that sounds like an extreme number, basically, once my primer's on, I set my crease in brow bone with a matte shade, so that's one. Then I do a transition shade, then I do a crease shade, then I deepen that. So just my crease alone, I use 4 matte eyeshadows. Then when I get to the lid and lower lash line, I do 1 shade for the inner corner, 1 shade all over the lid, an outer 3rd shade, and an outer 4th shade. So, and then on the lower lash line I replicate whatever I did on the top. But then I usually set my liner with a matte black, so that's actually 9 eyeshadows a day. Currently I don't have a matte black eyeshadow that is in powder form, so I'm not doing that. I tried to use Creep and it just didn't work, so that eyeshadow's really crappy and I hate it. But basically I use 9 eyeshadows a day, typically, and it's taken me over half the year to get through 4, almost 5 shadows from here and to make this much progress on the Naked 2. And I want to remind you that I had finished Blackout and Foxy already at the beginning of the year, so this was not a new palette. Both of these were older palettes, so they already had dips in them, and this is how long it's taken me. Amanda D pointed out in the Urban Decay post where they shouted me out and they used my photo, they made it seem like, and I didn't notice this at first, but she mentioned it, now it makes sense. They took posts from people who do panning and they made it look like panning their palettes is very easy, so you should buy a backup. I don't agree with that at all if that's what they were going for. I obviously appreciate that they shouted me out because I got like, I didn't get a ton of followers. I think I got like 20 followers, but like on Instagram I typically am losing followers on a regular basis, so to go up 20 is a lot. My picture was the last one in a slideshow they had, so I understand that mine wasn't the main photo and also wasn't a great photo either. I'm not like super proud of it, but basically as much as I appreciate them doing that and as much as I love the brand, I have to let you guys know that I don't necessarily agree with the marketing scheme of saying that you need to have backups of these. Even if I loved this palette and it was my favorite, I wouldn't buy a backup because it takes so long to go through, to the point where something's going to expire before I can finish it all. And I can go into more detail on that in a video about why I don't necessarily think the majority of people who I at least am on Instagram with who are thinking about it should get it. It sort of just depends. There are people who are just collectors and they're going to buy whatever they want anyway, so if you're just collecting for the sake of collecting, that's one thing. I do want to mention, so for the rest of the year I really want to focus on these 4, and then I have these 4 over here, and I was watching one of Kaylee's videos a while back, and in her video she talked about how whenever she sees people using the Naked palette, they focus on like the front part of the palette, and people don't tend to like the darker shades. And at the time I was being a little pretentious, and in my mind I was like, oh well, I like them, so it's still a good palette. Like in my mind for some reason I was arguing with her. I don't know why, because she was right. But then when I started panning it, I don't like Creep. Creep is just a horrible eyeshadow. Don't even try and argue with me on that one. Gunmetal's just okay. It's not a color I love. It's just a gunmetal shade. Hustle, I haven't used that much, but it's not like the best purple I've ever seen in my life. It's very brown. And Toasted, sometimes it looks pink and sometimes it looks brown. I think it also depends on skin tone, but I used to really like it, and now I feel like it's actually a little too pink for my taste, because if you don't know, I prefer very cool tones, and I do not like orange, red, or pink, typically. I like pinks like, this to me is a pink, but it's clearly very light. It's not pink like, I don't even have an example with me. Like this is a little more pink than what I would prefer. So, my taste has changed a little with this palette, and it just so happens that this is the area of the palette that I don't necessarily gravitate towards, and a lot of people don't seem to. And I think that has a lot to do with skin tone as well. Like, for a pale person, these shades are really good, because on a deeper skin tone, these are all going to be very light, but on me, like, these two are like medium tones, lighter than Buck, but like Sidecar is definitely darker than Sin and Virgin and Naked. It's lighter than Buck, but it's not like a transition shade. It's more like somewhere between a transition shade and a crease shade. And then Sin is actually a little deeper than Virgin, so they serve different purposes. Whereas if someone is of a deeper skin tone, these four might not have the same versatility, and then the focus would be on this side of the palette. And I've seen a review from someone who had a medium to deep skin tone before where they said they didn't like it. I don't remember why, this was a while ago, but it just doesn't seem like the most versatile across skin tones for a neutral palette. And I've come to realize the longer I've been doing makeup, a true neutral palette for each person is going to be different, because it depends on what undertones you like and what depth of tones you like. So this, as a neutral palette, is very specific to people who like warm undertones, but not blatantly warm tones, like not orange and red. And there's a focus on lighter shades with a few deeper shades, like Dark Horse and Creep. Actually, these three are on the lid for me, probably closer in depth to Smog. It's not that dark. So it's for someone with that kind of neutral palette in mind for their nudes. I think I still love the Naked 2 more, although I do have different thoughts on it now that I've been panning it. But when I start using this more again this year, if I get to it, I think then I'll be able to talk about my final thoughts. But with this, I really want to finish these and then at least hit pan on something over here and start using them before I do a full review. I know that's kind of weird because most people do reviews way before they even hit pan, but I really want to get to know these eyeshadows before I say my final thoughts on them, which will obviously be the finale. And there's a good chance that these are going to be left over at the end of the year, so I guess then I'll just talk about the ones I had actually used a lot. Creep, though, is the one I know. It's just a shitty eyeshadow. If you find a way you like it, please leave it in the comments below. I don't like it in the outer corner, lower lash line, because it's actually not dark enough. Like, if I want a black in the outer corner, lower lash line, I want it to be super dark, and this is sort of just like a gray with like sparkle. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. I'm gonna stop talking now because I'll keep going for like hours. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.